Are your kitchen and bathroom way overdue for a remodel? Well, I got the guy for you. Call John Sellers at First Response Contracting, 484-256-7136. Both residential and commercial services, and he's licensed and insured. Call him at 484-256-7136. First Response Contracting. Hey, how you doing? This is Brad Weisman, and you're listening to Real Estate and You, where each time we try to bring in some information about the real estate world and what's going on around us. And I got a really cool guest. This is a little different than any of the other stuff that we've done before. This is a builder. He's going to talk about what's it like for new construction to build a house in today's market. So without any delay, I'm going to bring on Kevin Kozo. Hey, Kevin, are you there on the line?
I am. I'm here, Brad. Thanks.
Awesome. And Kevin is from Turnberry.
Turnberry Construction Group. Yep.
See, and the reason I didn't know that, I know Kevin very well, but you did change the name in order to probably satisfy different businesses that you're doing.
Exactly. We were doing residential for the longest time. That's where we're best known is, custom homes in and around Berks County, Lancaster County. And we decided we wanted to branch out a little bit, start doing some commercial renovations, things of that nature, fit outs. So hiring a custom home builder to do commercial work was a tough fit. So changing the name, and really our commercial business has really taken off. So we're happy with the change.
That's great. And I see your signs out a lot in different areas, both residential and commercial, and I think that's great. And I wish you the best in every avenue that you go. So, hey, I brought you on today because we for the longest time, once I started the show, which was actually right when COVID-19 started, I realized I need to do something else to keep myself busy at home. And I decided to start a podcast, and that's what you're listening to right now. So one of the things that we were talking a lot about COVID-19, but now we're really getting into the meat of Real Estate and You, what the show's about. And really what I'm trying to do is get the information to the public about different things in real estate. So you are here for new construction. I wanted to pick your brain to find out, how is new construction going since the virus, and where do you see things going? And another thing I thought of too is, are people going to be now putting more virus friendly things in their homes? That's something I didn't even think about until now.
Yeah, the virus friendly things, I can't really speak to that too much. I think that's just going to play out over time. Yeah. The market was really good, and as you well know, Brad, it was a really tough market. There wasn't a lot of inventory. So as builders and some of my fellow colleagues, we've all seen an increase in business because there just aren't the homes out there to be had. Yeah. So what there was needed a lot of work. People would come to us and say, what about building new? And building new is always more expensive than buying what's already on the market. However, you've already got what you want. You don't have to take the time and invest all the money over the years to finally get what you want by the time you're ready to sell it.
Right.
So a lot of people have really gone the way of new construction and just said, let's just bite the bullet. The rates are amazing at this time. So you can buy more home at the same price. When you figure in your rates, why not do it? So we've already seen an increase of an activity. And during the COVID, the pandemic, when things were shut down, wow, we just saw a lot of activity. People were at home, not doing anything, or then looking at the walls and saying, gosh, I really wish I could add on to this thing. So we would do virtual tours and start talking with clients and saying, what is this going to take? And really working at it from there.
Yeah, it's funny, when you stay home, your house is kind of under a microscope. If you think about it, you know what I mean? It's like, seriously, because you come and go every day and you're like, this house is fine. Everything's good. What's the problem? And I know, my wife and I had many times of getting back and forth when we were home with this COVID, because she'd be like, well, what if we did this? Or what about a new kitchen? Well, what about expanding this? I'm like, this COVID thing can get very expensive. One thing is I'm not able to show houses. And on top of that, my wife's coming up with ideas.
That's right.
So you're on the other end of that. You're on the good end of that part, which is cool. But
finally, yes, we're on the good end. Yes.
Yeah, that's good. So I get that. I completely get that. And one of the things I'm hearing a lot about with new construction, maybe you can clear up this. They're saying, it takes a while to build a house because of, you got to find the land. You have to, then go get all your township approvals, things like that. Is that getting better? Are we getting a handle on that?
I think we really are. The biggest thing, the one thing you can't replace is the land. or the lot, the location. I mean, you only get one shot at that.
Yep.
You can change the house. You can make it anything you want. You can make it any budget you want. You can choose any builder you want. But the land, you can't change that. So it's really, once you find that, you're really in control of your own destiny. All the planning, things of that nature, should really take you 3 months.
Gotcha.
And then at that point, you're going to build a home. It's going to take you anywhere from 5 to 6 months, unless you're talking about some of our larger customs. Then you can get up into 9 months, a year, and well, you can go beyond that if you really want. But
right. Yeah, it depends on how custom, right? And what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But in all reality, from the day you meet with you decide on the builder you want to go with, 9 months, you should be able to be moving into your home.
So 9 months. So if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, we're thinking about building a house. We need to find the lot. We need to find the builder. We're looking at probably 9 months, 9 to 10 months until we're actually moving into that home."
Absolutely.
Now, what if I already have my lot? If I already have a lot that's already picked out and already did the perk and probe and things like that, are we looking at 5 months then, 6 months?
No, your build cycle is still going to be 5 to 6 months.
Okay.
And this is from my perspective as a custom builder.
Yeah.
Some of the production guys, they'll be able to cut their times down, but you don't have the flexibility. We'll say flexibility of changing things and that type of thing. So there is a trade-off. There's a trade-off.
I got you. And I've seen, by the way, just to tell anybody that's listening, I've seen your work, and you do fantastic work. I mean, there's only a couple builders that I will give the name of and know that I can trust that you're going to do a good job. You're definitely one of I think there's 3 of them that I give out names of, and you're one of the 3, and you always do a nice job and very professional, and everything looks good. So that's awesome. So I
really appreciate that. Thanks.
No problem. You're welcome. So before we got on here, we talked about something very cool, is that you wrote a book. Tell me about the book you wrote.
Yeah. So I meet with clients, and typically a client meeting would be about an hour. And after an hour of listening to a builder ramble on about all the things in construction, a client just checks out. Anybody would check out about anything about after an hour. And,
I'd have about 10 minutes, just so you know. It'd be about 10 minutes for me.
Well, you're checked out. Personality.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why this podcast is not an hour.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. So you tell me. So you just decided to write a book.
Yeah, so I started writing just pages of things that I wanted to get to clients and that I could leave with them and just say, these are the things you need to think about. This is about your lot. This is about the financing. And these pages just kept adding up and adding up and adding up. So I was down at the International Builder Show with a friend of mine, and we decided to team up, and we really wrote the book together. And
that's awesome.
He has he talks a little bit about our businesses individually, It really goes into really the same thing, because it doesn't matter where you're building in the country, you have all the same issues.
Yeah.
How do I finance this?
Yeah.
What do I need to look out for? How do I order materials? What do I select first? These are all the same questions everyone has.
Yeah.
And to go through that in under an hour, no one can retain all that information.
No, there's no way. Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah. So you wrote, basically takes you from, does it take you from day one, from buying the lot through, or?
It really does. Yeah. It takes you through the entire process, from start to finish. And really in the beginning of it, it's a great little checklist for the client themselves. Can you actually make decisions? Can you make decisions with your partner?
Yeah.
Can you handle the stress of doing this?
That's great stuff.
Is this really a good idea for you or not? Should you really be looking at buying an existing home and doing a small renovation?
Those are,
so it really just breaks it down.
Great questions. And it's funny, I represented Walter Greth Homes for 10 years, another good builder in the area. And, one of the things that we used to talk about, it's funny that you say that, is we used to say, there are people that are just not built for new construction. They're just not, because they can't handle if people need to be in total control, they might not be able to build, because you're not in total control. The contractor is, and also, the builder is, and you can't always set the house exactly the way you want to set it. It might have to be shifted because of certain reasons, because of septic or well or whatever it may be, And it's just funny. That's a great thing that you brought up there. So what else? So it covers pretty much from nuts to bolts in this book. And that's and I can get a copy of that where?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I have it on my website, so
okay.
turnberryconstructiongroup.com.
Okay.
And at the very end of the tabs, you'll see contacts. Click down from there, and it says owner access. And we also have an online portal. So when we're working with clients, they can log in, they can see all their financials,
that's great.
Up-to-date schedules.
That's
so
awesome.
If the schedule adjusts, they can log in, they'll see that all the time, all their financials, right?
That's great.
I mean, the biggest thing about building a home is your financials.
Yeah.
So 24/7 access, you can go in and check and see exactly where you're at, what overages, what credits, everything along that line. And then right there is, you can click on for a PDF for the book.
That's
and if
great.
someone contacts me through there, you can contact. I'll send you a paperback copy. It's free of charge. And
that's great.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man.
Pretty cool.
That's really cool, and I think that's great that you did that. I mean, that's something that most people can't say that they wrote a book, so that's cool. No. Yeah, it's very cool. And one of the other things we talked about before we started recording was you talked about, and this was interesting, and it's something that, every time we have a major event that happens. So we had a major event, which would be COVID-19, and obviously we feel terrible for all the lives that are lost and what happened to our country and to the world. And there's changes. And Gary Keller, who is the owner of Keller Williams worldwide, calls it a shift. He always calls it a shift, and he actually wrote a book called The Shift. And what that means, and it's not a negative thing or a positive thing, it is. It just is what it is. So you had talked about you might see a shift, or they're talking about a shift of people now moving back to the suburbs because they realize they can work from home. The employer realizes they can work from home. And now they're thinking, hey, why don't we live, out a little bit further, a little away from people? Because we did notice from this COVID-19 thing that the more compact and the closer you are to people, the more chances you have of getting something like that. So tell me about your thought or what you heard about the whole moving to the suburbs.
Sure. So being a member of the National Association of Home Builders, as you are with the National Association of Realtors, with the Builders Association, we get the weekly updates, as everyone gets updates for whatever profession that they're in.
Sure.
So with the National Association of Home Builders weekly update, there was an article in there. I clicked on it. I thought it was very interesting, stating exactly what you just said. They're looking at a potential shift out west. There was a study done that 75% of people are considering moving further out or to the suburbs. And it is exactly because of that. They can work from home. Telecommuting saves companies tons of money, being in an office space, the electricity, and you go down through all those numbers, and you can keep people at home. Well, if you have people at home, saves the company money, and employees, love that idea. They want to work from home. So now what happens is now you had people coming into the cities. Now they're talking, maybe they'll be moving back out of the cities into the suburbs, larger homes again, so you can have an office, and for some families, maybe even two offices within the home where they can work in a quiet space.
Amazing, right? It's amazing.
Yeah,
and like
really
I said,
is.
Talk about a shift. I mean, because there for a while, it was. I mean, things were always, we're heading back towards the cities and things like that. And I think it is starting, you might see that shift move back out. And I said, one of the things I was talking to probably my wife with or whatever, and I said, I think we're going to see like your big cities like New York and Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and things like that. You're going to see people move from those areas because they're noticing that when you live, and there's nothing wrong with those cities. Believe me, don't get me wrong. I love Philadelphia. I love New York City. I love Pittsburgh too. And they're great areas, and I love going to the cities, but definitely living there is where you tend to have, when something happens, it happens big. And it's usually not a good time. And you're going to start seeing, I think, people moving away from those areas a little bit, just if they have the choice to, or if they have the ability to, let's put it that way. So that's interesting information. And it'll be interesting also to see if that starts heading in that direction. We'll have to stay in touch on that, Kevin. I'd be interested
Absolutely.
to see
that. Yeah, I think it's really interesting.
One thing I wanted to end the show with is I wanted to ask you a question. If somebody's out there looking to build, okay, they're thinking, you know what, new construction is maybe the way I need to go because I can't find anything in resale and it's just not working out for me. What is the one thing to look for in a builder? Obviously, you want them to come to you. I understand that, but like as a just information to them, what would you say, hey, this is what you should look for in a builder?
I put it in the book, and, I think there's 2 pages in there that talk specifically about me. And otherwise, it speaks to people looking to build with any builder. And it's very simple. You need to trust the person that is going to build your home. You just need to trust them, and you need to like them. If you went to them with what you perceive as an issue or a problem, how are they going to react?
Right.
Are they going to react the way you want? Because you're married to this person, to this builder, for, let's call it a year, just for a round number, okay, 10 months to a year. You're married to them probably more than you are your spouse at that point.
Yeah.
And it can create a lot of infighting. So do you really, really trust and believe in your builder? If you can say yes, then you found the right person.
Yeah, what's funny about that, Kevin? I say that about every single relationship. I think it's the same thing I say about realtors too. When somebody says, well, how do you choose a realtor? Well, one, obviously you want to look at their track record and things. You're going to look at the normal things. But at the end of the day, every relationship, whether it's a business relationship or a marriage or whatever, it comes down to likability and trust. Yep. And if you lose and trust, the second one's probably the most important. If you lose the trust, everything else is out the window. It doesn't matter how much you like the person or whatever, it's all out the window. And it's amazing how much that comes in play no matter what you do in life. It's all about trust. So I think it's great advice. And I think you're one of those that I could definitely trust. I know that you would do a good job, and I've heard all kinds of good things of people that have used your services. So thanks so much, man. And I wish you the very best in moving forward. And I hope you're going to be able to build tons of homes this year and do the commercial stuff you're doing and sell your book and everything else that you're doing. So I want to thank you for coming on the show, Kevin.
I really appreciate it, Brad. And just as a little side note and a little plug for you, trust is absolutely the reason that you were my realtor when I bought the home that I live in right now.
Oh, that's cool. You. That's very cool. And you have an awesome home, too. I'm sure it looks completely different now.
It looks a little different, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to hook up after COVID for a drink, and we'll have to check that out, right?
That sounds great. I look forward to that. Thanks, Brad.
Take care, man.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Well, there you have it. That was Kevin Kozo from Turnberry. Yeah, he's doing a great job. It's actually Turnberry Construction Group, to be correct. And, see us next week. We'll be back with some other people to talk to. I hope you had a good time. This is Brad. Are your kitchen and bathroom remodels a little overdue? Well, now's your chance to call First Response Contracting. John Sellers will take care of you. 484-256-7136. They do residential and commercial, and they're licensed and insured. Give them a call at 484-256-7136.